Okay, let me move across to talk about basic sanity. And while I'm there, I might mention that it's very, very hot here. And I'm not dressed like this because it's called the bare necessities. It's just a necessity to be comfortable for me while I'm talking. I would like to talk a little bit about what's called CBT, or cognitive behavior therapy, or cognitive behavioral therapy sometimes. It's growing really popular as a very efficient and long-lasting treatment for many different types of psychological imbalances. And if the word psychological causes you to run screaming out of the room, then try to consider the terms referring to problems. They're terms that refer to problems that affect your emotional health rather than your physical sense of well-being. At some point in your life, you know that something's going to go wrong with your body. A little bit, maybe. So why on earth do we assume that our minds and emotions are way above the odd hiccup, or sometimes more serious difficulties? I think right here and now I will confess that, oh look at this, I'm having to wipe my eye because I'm confessing, that CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is not actually my area of expertise, but I'm really fascinated by it, and what I do know I can share with you. It's a way of progressing from problems to goals, and it gives you the tools to develop a focused approach. So it helps you move from any difficulties or emotional problems towards an actual goal. So it's a very scientific tool that you can use. And to start with, I might mention the thought and feeling link. Like many people, you maybe assume that when something happens to you, it makes you feel a particular way. If you're with a partner, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. When they treat you in ways that you consider to be inconsiderate, you can make the assumption that he or she makes you angry. You may think that their behavior makes you behave in a particular manner. Maybe you sulk, maybe you don't speak for hours or days. People can sulk for a very long time. Now, CBT encourages you to understand that your thinking, your beliefs, are in between the event and your ultimate feelings or your actions. That the thoughts and beliefs that you give to an event produce your emotional and behavioral responses. So in terms of CBT, it's not your partner that makes you angry, rather they're inconsiderate, or they behave in an inconsiderate way, and you give a meaning to their behavior, such as they're doing this deliberately to upset me, thus making yourself angry and sulky. So it's good to be aware of emphasizing the meanings that you give to events, the emotional responses that you have to particular events. But you know, that may not be wholly accurate. Sometimes your thinking can lead you to give extreme meanings to events, which can leave you actually quite disturbed. And psychologists use the word disturbed to describe emotional responses that are not helpful, that cause you discomfort. In CBT, terminology disturbed, it means that something is hindering, holding you back, rather than helping you to adapt and move forward. with what you might consider to be a negative event. For example, if a potential mate, if a potential friend rejects you after your first date, you might think that that proves I'm unlikable, I'm undesirable, and then you get depressed. You assign a meaning to what's happened and then have an emotion around that. Now, CBT involves identifying thoughts, beliefs and meanings that are principally activated when you're feeling disturbed. If you assign more helpful, more accurate meanings to negative events, you're likely to experience less extreme and less disturbing emotions. So for example, if I use the same example, being rejected after the first date, you could just think, I guess that person didn't like me much, or oh well, they're not the one for me, and just feel disappointment. So I'm still giving a basis. I will be giving you more information to actually do stuff, to actually change things for you. So I'd just like to lay a theoretical foundation before we do that. So acting out. The ways you think and feel largely determine the ways you act. If you feel depressed, you're likely to withdraw yourself and become isolated. If you're anxious, you might avoid situations that you find threatening or dangerous. And your behavior can be problematic on under certain stimuli, such as self-destructive behaviors, maybe excessive drinking or drugs to keep down your anxiety. And these things can cause direct physical harm. Another is isolating and mood-depressing behaviors. Maybe things like staying in bed all day or not seeing your friends, increasing your sense of isolation, maintaining your low mood. And then there's avoiding behaviors or avoidance behaviors, where you avoid situations that you perceive to be threatening. Avoid going out, avoid using a lift, avoid speaking in public. And these avoidances deprive you of the opportunity to confront and overcome your fears. So in CBT, it's good to learn your ABCs. So the ABC format is A, the activating event. And that means a real external event that has occurred, or a future event that you anticipate occurring, or even an internal event, such as an image, a memory, or even a dream. So the A, activating event, is referred to as your trigger. The B in the ABC is your belief. And your beliefs include your thoughts, your personal rules, the demands you make, whether it's yourself, other people, the world, and the meanings that you give to external and internal events. So B is your beliefs. C is the consequences. Consequences include your emotions, the way you feel, your behaviors, the way you act out, and also the physical sensations that accompany different emotions. So we've got A, activating, B, beliefs, and C, consequences. So learn your ABCs, and that would be a good place to start.